All right, everybody, let's get started. Thank you for joining our webinar. Today, we're going to be discussing how AI helps your sales teams grow your business in less than 30 days. John will be discussing how AI is helping his clients, and we'll share with you multiple ways that AI provides value. And then I'll focus on providing you with an overview of KnowledgeNet and AI lead intelligence in particular. We'll wrap up the webinar by answering questions that you place in the Q&A. John, with that, please continue on with the discussion.
Yeah. Hey, Ben. Thanks for the intro. So I'm John Reed. I'm Managing Director of Pinnacle Consulting, and I'm affiliated with Sales Xceleration. And our partnership with KnowledgeNet.ai is very exciting to me. I think that it's an ability to take some advanced technologies and apply them in a practical way to help sales. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So just a little bit about me. I am a veteran of 30 plus years of sales leadership in B2B enterprise sales, selling technology into a variety of verticals from telecom to manufacturing to life sciences, certainly. And the common theme there has been that they're fairly complex sales and require a fair amount of diligence up front in exploring and discovering what the needs are. And that's really how I've structured my practice here as I've converted over to my LLC, Pinnacle Consulting. So let's just walk around the wheel here a little bit and talk about what is offered through services that I provide. Start with the top left, sales assessment. That's really the start of almost anything, is to understand what the current status is of any given situation. So an SMB might be an early stage startup, or certainly looking to maybe the other end of the spectrum, exit the owners want to exit their ownership situation, but understand how all that backdrop of the objectives of the company feed into the sales objectives. So understand what the current status is, and then from there, build a plan to address the gaps, if you will, or the weaknesses that might exist. Certainly take advantage of the strengths that are already there. So working around top right to left, sales infrastructure, and that's where we'll spend most of today talking about sales strategies, how to implement technology to help with those strategies, and in particular with a focus on building pipeline. Then building on top of that, I can offer sales management services. So actually be the VP of sales. So that's part of what I do in offering sales leadership services, as I'm an outsourced CRO, if you will. So providing sales leadership to an existing sales team. We're building out a sales team, which the next segment is recruiting and hiring. So making sure that we've got the right people in the right seats. Do we have enough people, or maybe we have too many people? But making sure that we're right-sized for the objectives of the sales strategy. And then training and coaching, making sure that everybody understands that, hey, we've got a sales process that we need to adhere to. And ideally, that sales process should be mapped to the buying process of our target audience. But training and coaching to that sales process is part of the services that I provide, certainly. And then iterate on that, making sure that we're always taking a measurement of how well we're doing at any point in time. That's where Pinnacle Consulting, my services, and certainly Sales Xceleration fit into the services that we deliver and provide for small to medium-sized companies. As far as a focus on today, the topic is really to take advantage of AI. And AI today is getting, a lot of hype cycle, a lot of talk about AI, both good and bad. So how can we practically leverage AI? You can't run away from it. You should embrace it and use it to your, I'll say, advantage, so that you can keep ahead of your competition. So there's a number of things that AI can do for sales. And I'm just highlighting the first one here, prospecting. But right underneath that, there's 6, 7, 8 other areas in which AI can help with the sales function. But the most important thing that can be done in sales is to develop a top line, full funnel of opportunities, and then obviously manage those opportunities to closure. But if you're not delivering top line pipeline, then you've got a thin pipeline, and you've got now a challenge of having a probably extraordinary closure rate on each of the opportunities to bring the expected revenue numbers to where they want to be. So prospecting, leveraging warm leads. That's what we're going to focus on for today's webinar. So again, this feeds into the sales infrastructure. Once we do that, once we've identified sales infrastructure or top of the pipeline as one of the areas that we need to focus on, where do we start? What do we do? How do we get this ball rolling? So first thing is to identify what your ideal customer profile is, your ICP. Many folks have already done this or thinking about doing it. If you haven't done it, this is an exercise that you need to do immediately. Is what's the target audience, and corollary with this is what's your unique value proposition? What is it that you're saying to your prospects that separates you from your competition, and what's your unique value that you provide above and beyond any other option that they might want to think about? So start with the ICP, the ideal customer profile. Well, what exactly is that? It's a set of metrics, criteria that you want to apply to making sure that you have focus around the targeted, and not just companies, but also people. Just some suggestions here. This is not by any stretch a list of only opportunities that you can run after, but certainly verticals. If you've got sub verticals, you've got certain titles, whether they're on the IT side or the business side or operations side. You want to make sure that you've identified who in that organization you want to try to target with your value proposition, and on it goes. Number of employees, annual revenue. These are just suggestions of areas that you might want to think about. But the important point is have a focus. Have an ICP for 3, maybe 4 at most verticals or categories that you want to try to focus on. Don't try to be everything to everybody. That can work, but usually it doesn't. Provide some specificity and some focus around your ICP, and that will then help drive your top line pipeline development. How do you target prospects, and how do you target your ICP with to find new leads? Well, that is the challenge. That's the challenge we're going to talk about. And so let's talk about what a traditional approach would be. Spending X number of hours on LinkedIn, looking at relationships. Who's my contacts? Who's my first level, second level, third level? How do I relate them? That is very time consuming. All right, so then go beyond that. Maybe there's people in a database that I need to reach out to. So there's a lot of databases out there that you can buy. This is just one example, but they tend to be pretty expensive. So you can download contacts from a database or get a service to supply names and contact information to you. Or you've got outbound marketing activity, Google Ads, Facebook, etc. Newsletters, hiring FTE and SDRs to set appointments, or try to qualify some cold opportunities that you might want to try to convert to warm opportunities. All these are very time consuming, very costly, certainly from a time perspective, and the return rate is typically pretty low. And I think Ben is going to get into some of those metrics.
Yeah, thank you, John. As John was mentioning, this process is expensive. When they operationalize that and they send out hundreds of emails, maybe with generic messages, they're getting less than 1% of response. It's 1/4 of 1%. And if they have sales development reps, business development reps making cold calls, they're also achieving less than a 1% return of their outbound calling efforts. So how can we accelerate that? Like, how can we deliver prioritized warm referrals? People in your network already that can give you a warm introduction. With KnowledgeNet, we're able to do this in less than 10 days. The goal is, of course, to help you grow revenue and reduce the costs that we were talking about, contact sources and LinkedIn Navigator, ChatGPT, and doing this by leveraging your relationships. The way that it works is we create an organization for your company and we add the users, typically the sales team, the people that are contacting customers. They sync their email and their LinkedIn connections to that KnowledgeNet organization, to your secure KnowledgeNet organization. And then we use AI to connect all of this information going back 1 year through your emails and meetings and generate the relationship intelligence, generate the connection paths. And then we leverage this to give you insights and provide you with additional uses of AI. The impact is that we're able to provide for you the warm introductions, who in your network's network can introduce you to that person that you're trying to reach, provide you details of who in your network has changed jobs. Maybe a great customer has gone to work for a new company and you're not aware of that, but we give you that insight so you can follow up with them and make them a customer with their new company. Part of this is that we provide you access to 280 million contacts with very detailed filters that match your ICP. So you can find prospects. And in addition to that, the AI generated email personality profiles. We're able to share with you what customers or prospects have visited your website anonymously. We call that web traffic intelligence. And we can leverage ChatGPT and other technologies to provide customized AI generated emails. So the key part is leveraging relationship intelligence, providing exact information of how you are connected to that prospect through your existing network. And when you identify that prospect, providing you personality intelligence so that you know how to message, how to meet with this prospect in a way that it's going to be most meaningful to them. And then as you are leveraging KnowledgeNet to write emails to them automatically, it's taken into account the personality intelligence and the relationship intelligence to create highly personalized emails to them. But going back to how can we do this in less than 10 days? Prioritize these leads and have your sales team be able to generate revenue in less than 30 days. And the way that we do that is that we use AI to search through 280 million contacts, leveraging the two things that we've been talking about. Your relationships that we build using KnowledgeNet, your ideal customer profile, and then we use AI to prioritize first and deliver these 1,000 leads, every single one of them with a warm introduction. And we deliver these results. We've been working nationwide with Sales Xceleration. We have sales in every corner of the US. We can provide you with reference customers. One of them is CDI Corporation that in less than 4 months, they closed $14 million worth of business, and it all started with KnowledgeNet. So we can give you the contact information of people to talk to. Part of the way that we are working with customers and accelerating is by packaging up these components. So we provide you with licensing of KnowledgeNet for 12 months so that you can use it a la carte fashion and to generate these emails for the prioritized leads. We provide the 1,000 prioritized leads upfront. We allow you to use the web traffic intelligence for a month. And for this entire package, we charge $1,000. Essentially, it's the same cost of subscription fees for a year, but it's at a significant discount. Number one thing that we are helping them upfront with prioritizing their leads and getting them started because they all want to grow their business very quickly. Starting that in less than 30 days shows the most impact. But some of you may not have sales teams, but you still want to start. So KnowledgeNet is priced at $30 per user per month. There's no contract, so you can go month to month. And then once you see value, you could have an annual contract and drop the pricing to $25 per user per month. Let me give you a demonstration of how KnowledgeNet works. Let's say that I am in the plastics industry and I'm an extruder of plastics and I'm looking for customers. Let's say that I want to contact one of them, Nationwide Gutter, so I can sell them extruded plastic gutters. I have the KnowledgeNet Chrome extension here on the right-hand side, and if I click on it, I'm able to see information about Nationwide Gutter. And the first thing I see is that no one in my organization has ever contacted this customer, but my network can introduce me. So Joe English has a 2 degree of separation from Renee Grossman. I can click here and I can see exactly how Joe and I are connected. We've had 7 meetings and 96 emails. And Joe and Renee are connected, and Renee is the founder of Nationwide Gutter. So if I like this connection path and I want to ask Joe for that introduction, all I have to do is click this purple button, write intro email. and it'll package up this relationship intelligence into an email asking Joe to please introduce me to Renee. Once I have been introduced to him, I may want to find out more information about Renee. So if I go to Renee's profile here, I can go to his LinkedIn page. I can click on the information tab, and in the information tab, I can see information like his cell phone number, which I've hidden here because we're on a national webinar. I can click here and get his personality profile, which will help me when I'm going to have a meeting with him so that I can present to him and communicate to him in a way that's going to be most impactful. So if I click here, I'm able to see things that are motivators and drainers for him, the communication style that I should follow, how we should work together, and recommendations of do's and don'ts for meeting and speaking with Renee. None of this is his profile, but I wanted to show you exactly the example of how this would work. If I close this box here, and if I didn't have a connection path, an introduction like from Joe English, I could use AI to write an email. And this isn't just any email. This is a specific one that's coming from me and my role and information about my company. It's going to Renee and information about him and his company. So it customizes that into a custom prompt in ChatGPT, which is embedded in KnowledgeNet. When I click the next button, it generates that email that I can also customize by clicking here and changing the length of the email or changing anything that I want. So there's an automatic draft. Close this box here and show you how to add Renee to my CRM, because this is a prospect that I want to continue with. I can click this list area and then just add them to any one of my CRM systems that I have. And then if I go back to the company itself and I click the information tab here, then I'm able to see things about the company, access all of the employees at the company, and I can use AI to find similar companies. Again, I'm a plastics manufacturer. I'm looking for as many companies as I can. If I click there, it packages up information about Nationwide Gutter and shows me potential alternatives in the market. I can keep asking for 10 more through ChatGPT, or I can use KnowledgeNet to search over 70 million companies and find, in the keyword search of gutters, find 3,293 companies nationwide that focus on gutters. The other thing I could do would be to search people. We have actually now 280 million contacts with the detailed filtering that I mentioned earlier, that you're able to find people in industries and by job role and title to help you grow your business. So I'm going to go, John, now to the next slide for you to continue the conversation.
Great. Thank you, Ben. I found a number of aspects of the KnowledgeNet capability to be particularly exciting. One, and I'm sure it came across to everybody, but just to highlight it, it goes beyond what's available in LinkedIn, certainly. So LinkedIn is a wonderful tool. Use it, have used it for many years. But the contact information is limited typically to, the LinkedIn connection, and then maybe there's a personal email in there. Sometimes you find a business email. So using KnowledgeNet, just one aspect of it is that the contact information is pervasive. So it's leveraging LinkedIn, it's leveraging your email system, but it's also combining that relationship intelligence amongst all those contacts. So just quickly to try to wrap up here shortly, again, this is one element of building out a sales strategy, and it's an important element, and usually it's the first one. But having the information teed up properly, namely your ICP and your unique value proposition, just to name two, is extremely important to make the use of KnowledgeNet as effective and efficient as possible. So part of the sales assessment that I can bring to the table is understanding, again, your current situation and how building out a pipeline fits into your overall sales strategy. Clearly, if it's not part of it, it should be. But there are other things that typically go into a sales strategy that that you want to be mindful of which building pipeline is one of them. There's also an overlying functionality here that we bring to the table, and it's called Sales Operating Framework that allows for one layer up of abstraction of strategy above and beyond what you see here, that allows for CEO, VP of sales, existing CRO to make sure that they've got a finely tuned sales strategy that maps into their company business strategy. And that's also a level of offering that I can provide through certainly through Sales Xceleration. So Ben, why don't we kick it over to what the next step might be, or see if there's any questions?
Yeah, so as far as the next step, I'd love to have a one-on-one conversation with each of you if you're interested in what John was going over as far as sales strategy and the services that he and his company can provide. We're providing you his contact information on the bottom left. And if you're interested in starting with KnowledgeNet, there's my contact information on the bottom right. One of the questions that was asked was, how long does it take to get started using KnowledgeNet? And the answer is that in less than 5 minutes, we can create a KnowledgeNet organization for a customer and invite their users. Their users can start using KnowledgeNet instantly, being able to have access to the contact information of 270 million contacts. And in just a couple of minutes, they can set up and sync their email and LinkedIn. And as John mentioned, even when they're searching in LinkedIn, we provide the contact information. And since we live where they work, there's little to no training, even though we do provide it. So with that, John, we probably should just wrap it up. Thank everyone for coming and, go from there. You want to have any final last